hamstring problem. Jarell Quansah picked up a twisted ankle a couple of games ago, but he's fit and available for selection. He has trained in the last 2 days, and now there's Jed Spence on top of it. That's 4 right-backs that Thomas Tuchel has lost. Listen, I think it's a debate between Declan Rice and Jarell Quansah of who starts at right-back. It would be a big call to put Rice there. He is fit, he's ready to go. After some problems he's had with his lower back in this tournament. And it might be that they choose that to try and counteract the threat of Julian Quinones, who's been Mexico's best player on the left wing, scored 3 goals in 3 games. But we wait to see, and Carvy's had some really strong opinions on how Thomas Tuchel has handled this, because I think we both agree he's got his choices of right back wrong right from the very start. Well, and it's coming home to roost.
Yeah, this is the first time Thomas Tuchel has picked a major tournament squad. And you have to say, I think he's made some mistakes. He's always very, very defensive when you ask him about it. He says he has no regrets. But come on, let's get real. England are about to play Mexico in the Azteca Stadium. And the Real Madrid right back, who is English, is sitting at home watching the game on TV. I mean, that really just doesn't make sense to me.
And the point that Carve made is you could have, I don't know, Lewis Hall at left back, you could have Luke Shaw at left back now, Harry Maguire in the middle, Mark Gay and Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. That could have been the back 4 that England had available tonight, and Thomas Tuchel has chosen to go in a completely different direction. Look, elsewhere in the pitch, let's see, if there's a hole in midfield because Declan Rice is playing right back, might that mean Jude Bellingham drops into a number 8 position again, and maybe Eze or Morgan Rogers comes in at number 10? And I think it's a straight toss-up on the left wing and the right wing, whether it's Saka or Madueke, or whether it's Anthony Gordon or Marcus Rashford.
Interesting debate. It will no doubt continue. Carve, bearing in mind we've seen some mixed performances from England so far, many would say. Are they playing well enough to win a game like this, a huge test against Mexico in Mexico?
I don't think they are. If they play in the same way as they played, for instance, against Ghana or Panama or Democratic Republic of the Congo, I think they will lose tonight. But I think they can play much better than that. I think if they bring their A game, then they can win this game. I think a lot has been made of Mexico's record at this stadium. With all due respect, you have to say, because they're in the CONCACAF Federation, they don't play the top teams that regularly. And also England have got a fantastic record against Mexico. They haven't lost to Mexico for 41 years. They have never lost a competitive game to Mexico. I think if they turn up this evening, if they handle the atmosphere, if they are strong mentally, if they handle how aggressive Mexico are going to be, then I think this could be a England performance that will be one for the ages, one that we will be talking about for a long, long time. Because make no mistake, it's going to be very, very difficult, but I think England can do it.
And I agree with Carve there. I think, look, you talk about the importance of this game. It's very simple. If England lose this, they're going home. We know that. But if England were to win this game, I think it would be a statement, and I think it would be a statement to themselves. We've got a lot of players in this squad who've never played in a World Cup before. And if they were to win this, if they were to become only the 3rd side to beat Mexico at the Azteca Stadium, what momentum would that give them for the rest of the tournament? It would be an iconic moment. It would be the sort of victory. That was the thunder that we were talking about, by the way, in case you needed to wonder the impacts of it. Carve and I both jumped out of our skin there. I was just waxing lyrical about the size of this game, and then that happens. The weather aside, this is a defining moment for Thomas Tuchel. He's only had 18 months in the job. This is his most difficult game by far. And he will be judged on this game. If England lose here, the knives will be out to a certain extent for Thomas Tuchel. Going out in the last 16 to Mexico is no shame, but it's well below par of what England expected. That's the first thing to say. Secondly, if England win this, the momentum they can take from here, I think, would be extraordinary. And what a feather in the cap for all of those England players if they were to say they came to that magnificent stadium behind us where the hand of God happened 40 years ago, the last time England played here, where Diego Maradona cheated England out of a place in a World Cup semi-final, and England won here to go through to a World Cup quarter-final. It could be that big.
Rob, Carve joining us. So as the conditions turn, Thomas Tuchel has big decisions to make regarding his team selection. We understand Jed Spence is unlikely to start due to injury. Despite issues at right back, speaking ahead of the game yesterday, Tuchel insisted he and the squad remain confident that they will book their spots in the quarter-finals.
We are in an iconic place, iconic stadium, a massive game, knockout game against Mexico in Azteca. It's just an iconic match and a big stage, and we feel it.
I think it's a huge occasion. It doesn't get much better or bigger than playing Mexico in Mexico City in this stadium. Yeah, no words really. It's just an incredible occasion for everyone, and for us as a team, it's about staying focused on what our objective is. And
feel the excitement. It's just a next level setting, and we are very well aware what we are facing tomorrow. I told you we try to find solutions, of course, on the pitch. I think we have still room to grow in our offensive game, in our defensive game, to pick our moments better, to be a bit more compact, to worship our time, to be better timings in attacking. But overall, I think we're in a good place, and I think we are very, very close to putting it all together for a win tomorrow.
Phil Foden was one of the most controversial omissions from Tuchel's England squad, and he's using his free time to watch plenty of other sport. After watching Wimbledon yesterday, he was at the British Grand Prix earlier, but he'll be tuning in tonight and is in a positive mood.
I think we'll be all right, you know. I think they're going to be conditioned more than us with the heat. But yeah, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll get the job done.
Good stuff. And you, what's going on in your career?
No, obviously I was some downtime that I don't get. Nice to attend this and the tennis yesterday, so just enjoying it really.
England are just hours away from facing the World Cup co-hosts Mexico at the iconic Azteca Stadium. Now, Thomas Tuchel's got another headache ahead of the match. Our football correspondent Rob Dorset at the Azteca with all the details. Right, Rob, should we start with the injuries then? What can you tell us?
Well, first and foremost, Bella, what an extraordinary image that is behind us. One of the most iconic stadiums in world football, where England are going to be playing later on this evening. But the issue of who's going to be playing for England has dominated this build-up yet again. More problems at right back. Remember that Tino Livramento left the squad before the first game. Remember that Reece James pulled his hamstring and is still with the squad, but is unlikely to feature at all until much later in the tournament. He's still not training. Jarell Quansah twisted his ankle in the final group game and missed the round of 32 game against DR Congo. And now I can tell you that Jed Spence has got some injury that I'm being told about, which means he's unlikely to start the game tonight against Mexico. And question marks, I think, about how and when and if he can feature at all. And so that's a real concern for Thomas Tuchel. I mean, you're looking at pictures of Jed Spence now. We did see him out there training with England here in Mexico City yesterday, but whether he took a part in the full training session after the first 15-minute warm-up when we had to turn our cameras off, it's not entirely clear. And what does that mean for right back? Well, it could mean Declan Rice filling in as a makeshift right back, which would be an extraordinary decision from Thomas Tuchel. But they did do that, remember, England, after the advice of Anthony Barry, Tuchel's assistant, in the round of 32 game against DR Congo in the late stages. The good news is Rice is fit. He looked good in training yesterday. We expect him to start. We're just not entirely sure where he's going to start, whether it's at right back or in the centre of England's midfield. So it's a straight shout, I think, between Rice and Jarell Quansah for that right back starting spot. If Rice misses out on the midfield, Tuchel's then got another decision to make. How does he fill in from him? Is it Jude Bellingham who drops to number 8? Is it Jordan Henderson who comes in off the bench? If Bellingham drops to 8, do we see Morgan Rogers or Eberechi Eze starting at number 10? You can see what a complex team selection this is for Thomas Tuchel, especially when we're talking about right back coming up against Mexico's most dangerous player, a man who scored 3 goals in this World Cup finals already, in Julian Quinones.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like there's quite a few questions remaining, as you say. Earlier on, Jamie Redknapp spoke to us. He said that Thomas Tuchel doesn't know his best back four yet. Do you agree with that? And how much of a concern is that at this stage of the tournament?
I think Jamie's right. I'm not sure Tuchel does know his strongest back four right now. He certainly hasn't been able to pick his strongest back four, because Declan Rice going in at right back in the back end of the last game was the 5th different right back that England have used in this tournament. That's an extraordinary turnaround and lack of consistency there, isn't it? He hasn't really got a lot of choice when it comes to full-backs now. He's only got Nico O'Reilly as the recognised left back in this squad, but I do think he's settled on Ezri Konsa and Mark Guéhi as his central pairing of choice. John Stones, we saw earlier on in the tournament, didn't impress that much, could come involved later in the tournament, but I wouldn't expect him to be thrown into the mix right now. Tuchel has talked up Konsa and Guéhi in the way they've performed, but there's no doubt that the defence is England's Achilles heel. It's been seen throughout this World Cup. They've conceded 3 goals, haven't they, in the tournament? They could have conceded a lot more, I think you have to say, against lesser opposition than the one they face here at the Azteca tonight.
Well, we've been talking about altitude and the issues that poses, and now we've got the potential for thunderstorms in the build-up. So what's the latest on that, Rob?
Well, I've just got the very latest update from FIFA's storm predictor, if you like, in the area, and it says from about now, storms are possible. In about an hour and a half, 2 hours' time, storms become likely, and then in the 2 hours before kick-off and the first hour of the game itself, it says thunderstorms are probable, a 92% chance of thunderstorms with lightning as well. So, look, I think there's a very strong chance that there will be disruption to the kick-off for this game. Remember, FIFA's rules are very clear. Any lightning within a 6-mile radius of that magnificent Azteca Stadium, and they will postpone the game. If it's before the game, they will not let supporters in. They will not let the players in. So we're monitoring that weather report very, very closely, especially because you guys back home have made all sorts of plans to sit up and watch the game. Pubs are staying open late, aren't they? They've got late licences. It could be later than a 1 a.m. kickoff. And of course, that matters to the England squad as well. They don't want that to damage their preparations. They did experience it in their final warm-up game against Costa Rica in Orlando. That kickoff was delayed by an hour, so it's not brand new to them. Let's see what happens over the next few hours.
I think the players felt it in the first minutes of the training session, and the longer it went, they could cope with it better. It's just what it is. We cannot physically adapt, it's just impossible. But we are here one day before to experience it, at least, to not have all the first-time experience tomorrow in warm-ups.
You can feel it a little bit. You can feel something. Like you felt it a little bit even when you just land and you come to the hotel and you're just walking around. You can feel something. And then today in training, for me personally, I felt that maybe in the first 10-15 minutes, and then once training got going, I stopped thinking about it so much and just concentrated on training.
I think it's not a coincidence that Mexico starts their matches normally at home turf very, very strong, very front-footed, very aggressively, because I think the first 15-20 minutes will be maybe the toughest for us. Once we overcome that, and we experienced a little bit already today, I think we are in a good place.
Right, whilst we're talking about disruption, what about sleep disruption for the England squad? Any of that?
Well, our chief correspondent, Kaveh Solhekol, was outside the team hotel this morning, and you saw from those pictures we brought you just what huge gatherings there were from Mexico supporters and from the police out there as well, the military forces. It was extraordinary. But the pictures you're looking at now are from last night. And look, you can see the fireworks going off. That was a good few hundred metres away from England's team hotel. Did they hear it? I understand that the FA had plans in place to try and deal with any noise disruption in the middle of the night, which might have disrupted and disturbed the players' sleep. I don't know whether that was something as simple as earplugs or something a little bit more sophisticated than that. But the police around England's team hotel were a lot stricter than they were in the previous round when Ecuador had a similar experience. They got right up to the team hotel. We're talking heavy earth-moving equipment. We're talking peeping horns, fireworks. They had a lot of disruption to their sleep the night before. They made a formal complaint to FIFA, Ecuador did, and my understanding is that the English FA had talks with FIFA to try and make sure it didn't happen again. So, yeah, the disruption I don't think was as bad as it was for Ecuador, but it's only when we talk to the players, the England players later on this evening after the game, when we'll find out exactly how they got on and how they slept. And hopefully by that stage, they'll have made it through to the quarterfinals of this World Cup. But just before I go, Bella, let's show you the scene we've got right here, because we're on a rooftop in Mexico City with our colleagues from Telemundo. They have a fantastic operation. There's probably 100 people working here in terms of the production staff. They've got some very posh cameras. They've got the presenters on set over there. They are the host broadcaster for Mexican TV, and so they've very kindly given us this incredible view of the Azteca Stadium, one that we'll be maximising to the full between now and kick-off.
Oh, 100 people on set. Rob Dawson's the biggest diva of them all.